So let me let you leave with something so that you have how to build a success system. 3 ways. I call this my massive transformation formula. 3-step process. Number 1 is this. I don't care whether you have 10 goals, 100 goals, 1,000 things on your bucket list. It doesn't matter. You have to boil it down to your big 3. What are the 3 goals that if you accomplished over the next 12 months would make it the best year of your life? What are those 3 things? Like, okay, I've had a pretty great life, but if I did these 3 things, without question, would be the best year of my life. That's your big 3. As Jim Collins says, if you have more than 3 priorities, you probably don't have any. I say if you have more than 3 goals, you probably don't have any. Focus your attention on the 3 that matter the most that will get you furthest down the road. And then once you've got the goals, 2, what are the key behaviors necessary to accomplish each one of the goals? Let me give you an example. When I was in real estate, so first of all, there are not 5,000 things you need to do. When it comes to your behavior, there are not 5,000 key behaviors you need to become successful. It always boils down to about or less than a half dozen is all that's really necessary for you to accomplish any goal you've got in life. So I'll give you an example. When I was in real estate, there are 5,000 things you could delude yourself are necessary to be successful, right? I'll just read you some of those, right? So order the property report, set up the termite inspection, review appraisal, meet with the client to review reports, send disclosures, verify property report, get permit from the city, meet with the selling agent, organize files, review contract. These things sound like productive things you need to do as a real estate agent, but they are not. There are only 3 things that made the difference of why, if I did them, we got paid. Only I could do these things. I couldn't delegate. These are the things that I needed to do. And they were pitching a listing, negotiating a contract, and prospecting. Those were the 3 key behaviors for me to accomplish the goals that I had in real estate. And I became so dogmatic about isolating my time to these 3 key activities that I actually bought a stopwatch and I wore it around my neck. And whenever I was doing one of those 3 things, I would turn it on. When I stopped doing one of those 3 things, I would turn it off. So if I were going door to door, door opens, on. Do you plan on buying or selling real estate in the next 6 months? Slam, off. Pick up the phone, ring, 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 on. Do you plan on buying or selling real estate in the next 6 months? Off. And I did that, but the first day I wanted to set the bar high. So I just went out like a savage. I probably worked 18 hours that day, and I didn't look at it the whole day, and I couldn't wait to the end of the day to turn it over and see how much time I had spent doing one of these 3 things. Guess how much time was on it the first day? 20 minutes. 20 minutes. I had worked like a beast for 18 hours, and I had 20 minutes on the clock. I promise you, if you take your key behaviors and you actually track the amount of time you're really spending doing one of those key behaviors, you will be shocked about how little time you're actually spending doing anything that actually matters. So it became my goal. I mean, I remember getting it to 40 minutes, which was Herculean. An hour. I got it up to 2 hours. We had a huge office-wide party. I spent a fortune because it was a gargantuan achievement. There was only about a half dozen times in my entire career, 4 years in real estate, where I actually got it up to 4 hours. This is, I mean, imagine, all you have to do is work 4 hours and you could create $500,000 income. I mean, that's all it really takes if you isolate your time to the things that actually matter. So number 1 is your goal, number 2 is your key behaviors, and then number 3 is tracking it. So let me show you a gyroscope system that you could use to track the achievement of your top 3 goals. This is what I call cashing out every day. When I was a teenager, I worked at a restaurant. And you would take an order, punch it into the computer, and then you would collect the cash or the credit card receipts. And at the end of this shift, you had to sit down with the manager and you had to cash out. And the cash and receipts needed to equal what you put into the computer. And if it didn't, you were in trouble. Shouldn't we all, to this stage of our lives, have to cash out every day of our lives? This is what I said I was going to do. Let's cash out and see whether I did it or not. So here's how to do it. This is what I call my weekly rhythm register. Single piece of paper becomes the dashboard or the gyroscope of your entire life. So let's say your top 3 goals are to increase your sales by 30%, lose 15 pounds, increase the intimacy in your relationship. The key behaviors are prospecting hours, sales appointments, exercise, water, expressions of appreciation, magic moments. Those are the key behaviors to accomplishing your top 3 goals. And then on Sunday you say, okay, I'm going to do these behaviors X number of times each. That's it. How many times am I going to prospect? How many hours am I going to prospect? How many sales appointments am I going to go on? How many times am I going to do 60 minutes of exercise? That's it. Sunday. And then throughout the week, you track it. Check, 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 check. That's it. Takes you less than 30 seconds at the end of each day. And then the following Sunday, review. Am I on track or am I off track? Where am I more off track than other places? So that you can readjust for the next week. What you don't want to do is to get too far down the month, the quarter, the year, the decade without checking on your trajectory. And that's what this page allows you to do. So if these are the 3 goals that are going to make it the best year of your life, these are the key behaviors that are going to make those goals a reality, all you got to do is keep track of it. And on a single piece of paper, you can roll up your whole life. Simple as that. So you can download it for free, or it's inside that Living Your Best Year Ever program. So what's the last line of code in the operating system? What's left if you've started to make better choices, you've changed your behavior, you're repeating that behavior over time? The only thing that's left is time. The only thing that's left is your ability to allow discipline to compound into these massive results, the 8th wonder of the world. Let me give you your biggest pitfall. This is the big warning. If you've got everything that we've talked about thus far, this is where you will fall and fail. It also could be the reason why you end up becoming more successful than anybody else in this room. Here's what it is. Master the skill, you can win every time. It's not how fast you start. It's not how talented you are, how experienced you are, how much skill you've got. None of that actually matters. It's not how fast you start. At the beginning of a 10K, half marathon, it's crowded. All these people there are like, what the hell, all these people showing up? The further you go along in the race, the thinner it becomes. That's true in life as well. Monday morning, you're going to be all fired up, and your blogs are going to be blowing up, and your Twitter and Facebook, and calls are going out, and everybody's going to be off to the start. Let's take this down 2, 3, 4, 5 months from now. There's only going to be a few that are still consistent with that effort. I'm going to blow through this here. So it's not how fast you start, it's how long you last. Consistency wins every single time. And then sustained consistency creates what I call big mo. And that's what you want in life. This is this enigmatic force called momentum. And momentum is created through sustained consistency. It's kind of like the big multi-ton steam trains. It takes an enormous amount of steam to get it to move 2 inches forward. An enormous amount of steam. Getting your life going 2 inches forward will take an enormous amount of steam. And if you put just a 2-inch block underneath its wheel, it won't go at all, no matter how much steam. But as soon as that train gains momentum, it can go through a steel reinforced concrete wall as if it were paper. That's what disciplined consistency over time, creating momentum. You've seen it. You've seen it in teams where they get mo, and it's like they're unstoppable. They don't even know, and it's like, don't start questioning or figuring it out, just go with it. But it has to do with all the things that they did leading up to that point that broke them into momentum. Anybody read this new book by Jim Collins, Great by Choice? Let me save you the trouble. It's not that bad. Here's basically the thesis. He analyzed the companies that went through the difficult financial crisis, and there were a dozen companies that grew 10 times, while other companies either collapsed, went out of business, or barely survived. What was the difference between the 10Xers and everybody else? They were not more risk-taking, they were not more bold, they were not more visionary, they were not more creative, they were not faster or luckier, was the conclusion. This is what they thought it would actually end up being. But the thesis of it was they were simply just more disciplined. They were simply just more consistent with their regular action, and they grew 10x when everybody else fell behind. All right, and the last piece I want to give you here is how to really crush it. If you want to accelerate this process in the slightest, here's the key to accelerating the compound effect.